America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Stop it. Stop blaming the people around Trump. Stop blaming the people who work for Trump. Stop blaming the people in Trump's cabinet. Stop blaming Trump's cheerleaders. Stop blaming the people that Donald Trump put in positions of power. Blame Trump. Blame Trump. You're pissed off at, how old is he now? Pete Hegseth. I thought he was 17. I overshot that. He may be like 15. You're pissed off that a 15-year-old is running the Department of Defense. Don't get mad at Pete Hegseth. He was in over his head from day one. Get mad at Trump. Trump put him there. Trump put him there. Trump put a 15-year-old alcoholic weekend Fox News anchor in charge of the Department of Defense. Trump did that. Don't blame Hegseth. Kash Patel to run our FBI, a report out a couple days ago. Nobody at the FBI trusts Kash Patel, the guy running the organization. Don't blame Kash Patel. He was utterly unqualified when Trump picked him. He's a conspiracist. He despises the FBI. He's a believer in the deep state. He's a podcaster, though I got nothing against podcasters. And Trump put him in charge of the FBI. Don't blame Kash Patel. Trump did that. When people write the books about this era, man, I want them to emphasize that one of the secrets to Trump's success is he's convinced everybody. Donald Trump has convinced everyone to hold him to this uniquely low standard that we would never hold any other politician, any other elected official to. Trump's secret to his success is he's convinced everybody to hold him to the same standard that we would hold some ill-behaved 4-year-old child. I mean, think about it. Trump lies as he breathes. We don't talk about his lying. Trump's openly corrupt, right? And he's openly corrupt. He's lawless. He's cruel. He calls female reporters. He hurls ugly personal insults at female reporters. I could spend the next 7 months of my life running down everything Trump has said and done, that if any other politician or elected official said and did that, one of those, two of those, three of those, they'd be done. But Trump's convinced his supporters, and indirectly the media and the rest of the American people, to hold him to a pathetically low standard. Politicians shouldn't lie to us, but Trump, that's just Trump. Remember when he first got elected? Don't take what he says literally. Don't take what he says literally, we told. Don't take him seriously, we were told. What other political figure, what other elected official have we ever done that? Don't take seriously anything he says. It's like Trump's the only one we let get away with that. Don't take him literally. And by the way, we treat Trump like some helpless victim. Well, it's not his fault. People are taking advantage of him. It's not his fault that he lies. Don't take him literally, Joe. It's not his fault that he's openly and publicly, personally enriching himself through his office. Joe, he's a deal maker. He's a deal maker, Joe. We did this. I said it's the secret to Trump's success is that he's convinced us all to hold him to this itty bitty little super duper low pathetic standard that we don't hold any other political figure to. But he convinced us to do that. He convinced the media. He convinced his supporters. He convinced everybody who voted for him. Joe, I know he's an asshole, but what other openly asshole, a jerk, a bad, horrible guy would you vote for? But Trump, that's just Trump, Joe. That's just Trump, Joe. He can be bad and horrible and cruel and ignorant. Like Trump can stand in front of the American people like he's done twice now in the last 2 days and say, I got an MRI, but I don't know for what. The president of the United States publicly in front of the American people said, yeah, I got an MRI, but I don't know what it was for. No other president would get away with that. I dare say no other member of Congress would get away with that. But Trump, that's just Trump. He's kind of an idiot, Joe, or he's funny, Joe, or maybe he doesn't know, Joe. Shame on us. Shame on us for holding Trump to such a pathetically low standard. Shame on us all for treating Trump like we would never treat any other political figure, like treating him like a 4-year-old. A lot of the media have been doing lately, this topic has come up because Trump's administration is in fucking horrible shape. It's in chaos. It's clearly incompetent. Again, 15-year-old Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, man, committing war crimes, right? We'll get to that in a second. Go right down the line. Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, has lost the confidence of everybody at the FBI. The economy is tanking because he single-handedly enacted tariffs, on and on and on. Trump's numbers are in the toilet right now. The ugliness, the cruelty going on the American streets with his masked federal agents. The country's in trouble. His administration is in trouble. But when you listen to the media, it's a lot of, oh, he's got a lot of young people around him. They need to grow up. The people around him are making a lot of mistakes. They need to get their act together. Never blaming Trump. Trump's the one who decided to do these stupid, unconstitutional tariffs. Again, I can go down the line. The Trump administration right now is an utter disaster, which is why 29% of independents support what he's doing. It's an utter disaster. Yeah, 87 or 88% of Republicans still support him, but he can't win, and Republicans can't win with that. Not when you're getting killed by independents like he is. He's in trouble. The country's in trouble. And it's the same old thing. We got to blame the people around him, not him. All these incompetent, in over their head, bad, disqualified people working for him. We got to blame all of them, not the guy who put them all there. Pete Hegseth. Oh, Pete Hegseth. It ain't Hegseth, it's Trump. It ain't Hegseth, it's Trump. Pete Hegseth last night, if you've got that post to his, Keith, put it up. Pete Hegseth, um, we've struck. By the way, we don't know who has struck 8 or 9 fishing boats off of the coast of Guatemala. We don't know if it's our military, if it's the sea. We don't know who it is. We don't know who we've killed. But here we are off the coast of Guatemala the last number of months, just firing on fishing boats or drug cartel boats, whatever they think they are. We don't know. There's been no proof supplied at all by our government, your government, my government, who's been on these boats and who's been killed. None of that seems to matter. But we live in a country where the truth just doesn't matter to anybody anymore. But clearly, we're building toward regime change in Guatemala. And by the way, isn't that something, MAGA? I was thinking about this yesterday. Is this what MAGA voted for? Higher grocery prices in America and regime change in Venezuela. MAGA, MAGA. That's where this thing's headed. But these boats that we're firing at, and the big controversy now is that we fired at a boat in September and there were still 2 or 3 people alive on the boat. And then somebody said, kill those final 2 or 3 people, potentially a war crime. But we're not at war, potentially murder. Hegseth clearly aware of it. Now Hegseth trying to distance himself from this order. And he throws Admiral Mitch Bradley under the bus. Look at this. This is Pete Hegseth, the 15-year-old Secretary of Defense last night. Let's make one thing crystal clear. Admiral Mitch Bradley is an American hero, a true professional, and has my 100% support. I stand by him in the combat decisions he has made on the September 2nd mission and all others since. Bottom of the bus, Admiral Bradley, here you go. Pete Hegseth throwing Admiral Bradley under the bus. Admiral Bradley, Hegseth said, was the guy who made the call, murder those final 2 people on that boat. Contradicting what Hegseth himself has said repeatedly, that he watched the attack live and he gave the commands. Now, again, not going to get into that right now. It's been a big story, right? War crime or not, blah, blah, blah. What we need is a bipartisan Senate and House investigation to get to the bottom of it, a bipartisan investigation. This is a big deal. The United States, not at war, has been firing on boats off the coast of Guatemala, killing people. War crimes, murder. Pete Hegseth rightly taking the blame. But, and now he's thrown Bradley under the bus, so who knows? But, excuse me, who put Hegseth there? Who put Hegseth into a position of such great power? Pete Hegseth is a punk. Again, an alcoholic, a weekend Fox News anchor. Our military personnel are just laughing at him. The rest of the world laughing at him. I'm sorry. Okay, that's fine. You ought to be laughing at Trump for putting him there. Such an important position in our government. And it's no surprise, right? That Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are the antithesis of the buck stops here. Harry Truman's the buck stops here. You listen to Hegseth and Trump now when it comes to these potential war crimes, potential acts of murder. It ain't the buck stops here. It ain't Pete Hegseth saying, I'll take responsibility. Donald Trump saying, I'll take responsibility. The buck stops here. None of that. They're like, huh? What buck? What do you mean buck? Who's a buck? I don't know any buck. Fake news. And by the way, you're a stupid reporter. That's Trump's and Hegseth's response to taking accountability. By the way, again, MAGA, your role models never, ever, ever take responsibility or accountability for what you've done. Yeah, that's somebody to look up to, MAGA. But again, and I'll close this. This is just Pete Hegseth who's getting picked on this week because of these potential war crimes. RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, you could go down the list of every single one of his cabinet picks. And they're incompetent. They're in over their head. They have no business being in government. Just not ready for the job. And or even worse than that, bad. Like utterly inappropriate for the job. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, the two top guys at the FBI, man, they're big proponents of the deep state, man. They went to the FBI to destroy the FBI. Tulsi Gabbard is on Putin's side with Trump. She's in charge of our national intelligence to destroy our national intelligence. Our allies don't share intelligence with Tulsi Gabbard, meaning don't share intelligence with the United States of America. The point is, Trump, stop fucking holding him to an abysmally low standard. The buck stops with Trump. Trump did this. Trump did Hegseth. Trump did Kash Patel. Trump did RFK Jr. When your kid gets sick and or dies because of RFK's fucked up, he put RFK Jr., an utter quack, in charge of this nation's public health. And if and when your daughter, your son, any of your relatives die because of the dangerous shit he is doing right now, don't you dare blame RFK Jr. Blame Donald Trump. Stop treating Trump like a helpless 4-year-old. I alluded to this yesterday, but we need to keep an eye on this. Trump and all of his cheerleaders on the right, as his numbers continue to tank, and as the American people continue to recoil, I mean recoil, against his ugly, cruel, unconstitutional, and un-American ICE actions, these masked federal agents on our streets doing all of their un-American bullshit. As this continues and Americans continue in greater numbers to say, that ain't the fuck who we are, that's not what we do, and Trump's numbers continue to tank, be careful. Their language is going to get uglier and more hateful and more divisive. Stephen Miller. By the way, don't blame Stephen Miller for anything. Trump put him. Trump basically made Stephen Miller president. Don't you dare blame Stephen Miller. Blame Trump for putting him there. Stephen Miller out last night. You know, again, we talked about this yesterday. One Afghan commits a horrible act in Washington, D.C., shoots 2 National Guard members last week. So Trump stops all immigration from Afghanistan and all immigration from 19 other third world countries where primarily brown and black immigrants come to the United States of America. Stephen Miller wants to increase that number to like 35 countries. Stephen Miller wants only white European immigrants to come here. He's said so. And the language now they're using now to go after entire swaths, entire creeds of immigrants. Look what Kristi Noem posted yesterday, head of the Department of Homeland Security. There you go, Keith. Thank you. Kristi Noem, I just met with the president. I am recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. Killers, leeches, entitlement junkies. Their language is going to get uglier and more hateful and more divisive. Foreign invaders, Kristi Noem says. They come here and they slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, snatch the benefits owed to Americans. We don't want them, not one. As Trump's numbers tank, and again, as Americans rightly recoil against what ICE is doing, they're going to get uglier. Kristi Noem, all of them, Stephen Miller and Trump, they're going to get uglier and more bigoted and more xenophobic, just more hateful and divisive in their language. Nancy Mace, Looney Tune member of Congress, who's running for governor of South Carolina, she was on the Piers Morgan show yesterday. Let's listen to that.
In terms of action moving forward, there are those who are calling for the deportation of all Afghans who came into the US via the GAW, the Gore program. Do you support that?
I support deporting everybody at this point. I mean, I'm looking at the Somalis in places like Michigan and Minnesota that are using autism money from the government to fund terrorism. At this point, I want everybody out. I just can't.
But what do you mean by everybody out?
People that are coming to our country and doing harm, stealing government money, marrying.
Yeah, but that's different. If they commit a crime, then
that is a crime, though. Fraud is a crime.
Sorry, just to be clear. No, to be clear, yeah. If they commit a crime, yes, I think there's absolutely they should be deported.
There are a lot of
but what about the many people who have not committed crimes who've come from Afghanistan or Somalia?
Well, we have a history in our country of embracing people who've come from war-torn countries and are seeking asylum, who are seeking those sorts of things. Those are the things that America believes in and we support. But we've allowed all these people in who have we've allowed people to illegally cross our border, steal money from our government, and just get away with it. And I'm quite frankly, like most Americans, sick and tired of it. And then I don't want us to turn into Europe or the EU. You're seeing what's going on over there. And if we continue down the path we are in right now, we're going to be just like them, and we can't have that here.
Right, but just to be clear then, because I'm not quite clear what your position is, you would deport all Afghanis and all Somalians in the United States?
Those who are committing crimes or at risk of committing crimes, I want them out. I want them out of the country.
Those who've committed crimes, I'm with you, but those who look like they're likely to, how do you assess that?
Well, we were just talking about the vetting process. If they look suspicious, I want them out. At this point, I don't even care. I want the safety of our country to be.
Stop, Keith. Thanks. If they look suspicious, Nancy Mace says, I want them out. And all she talked about was immigrants from Somalia and Afghanistan. If they look suspicious, fucking don't beat around the bush. Let me translate. Here's what Nancy Mace was really saying. If they're brown and black, I want them out. If they're Muslim, I want them out. You listen to that 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's what she's saying. If they're not white Christians from Europe, I want them out. I want them out. If they look suspicious. What the fuck does look suspicious mean? I'll tell you what it means. Again, I'll translate for Nancy Mace. Looking suspicious means they're brown, they're black, they're Muslim. They look Somalian. Let me be clear. I know exactly what Nancy Mace is saying because I used to say some of that. I know exactly the code words that Nancy Mace is using because I used to use some of the same code words. And then I realized what I was doing was wrong and I stopped. But be clear, this is where the right is now. Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, Nancy Mace, Donald Trump, the whole ball game. Again, here we are almost a week after that horrible incident in DC. And the Trump administration is now publicly talking about keeping brown and black and Muslim immigrants out and getting brown and black and Muslim immigrants who are in this country out. As things get worse for Trump, man, they're going to get uglier. I won't need to translate Nancy Mace. Like I just translated Nancy Mace there when she talked about Somalians and Afghans and people who look suspicious. Bullshit. Brown and black people get out. That's what Nancy Mace was saying. I won't need to translate as this thing goes on here in another month because Trump and Kristi Noem and Nancy Mace and Stephen Miller, they're just going to say it. Stephen Miller does say it. If you're brown and black, I don't want you here. They're going to say it out loud. They're going to say it out loud. Their language is going to get more divisive, more ugly, and more hateful as this thing continues because they desperately want to use this issue to divide the American people, and they want people on the fence, Americans on the fence, right, who are not MAGA, on the fence. They just want to live their lives. But again, they've got legit concerns about immigration and legit concerns about crime. And these people, a lot of independents, they voted for Trump last year knowing he was an asshole, but they figured on immigration and crime, he'll at least do something. And the Democratic Party, my party, ignores those two issues. And they're going to try to desperately hang on to these voters by ratcheting up their language, because a lot of these independents now who voted for Trump because they did want the border secured, and they did want, by the way, people in this country illegally who are violent criminals to get the hell out. That's not who Trump's going after. He's going after 82-year-old grandmothers in Home Depot parking lots to keep these voters next year and in 28. Trump and his cheerleaders are going to ratchet up the ugly volume. And I mean ratchet up the divisiveness. And as I've said before, coming from the right like I do, it's all to scare people. Because fear works. And it works with way too many people on the right. I know that personally, and I know that all too well. Last quick thing. I'll make this offer. Keith, I'm just going to say it, man. I'm so sick of, and he did it again 2 nights ago. Trump called a female reporter ugly from without and within. Called a female reporter piggy a week and a half ago, called a female reporter a stupid person 4 nights ago, and then he calls a female reporter ugly on the inside and the outside. I'm so fucking sick and tired of members of the media, the White House pool, keeping their mouths shut when Trump hurls ugly, cruel, personal insults at their colleagues, most especially their female colleagues. Trump calls her piggy. No, not a member of the media right there in real time, right there said anything to Trump. Trump calls a reporter, you're a stupid person. None of the other reporters right there said a damn thing to Trump. Trump calls a reporter ugly on the inside and out, and not one member of the media said anything. Oops. said anything to Trump. I'm so damn sick of these media members not having the backs of their colleagues, not standing up and defending their colleagues. I'm just going to do this, man. I will pay for a weekend anywhere on the planet, travel, hotel, restaurants, meals, everything for two. I'll pay for a weekend for two to anywhere on the planet to the first media member who, when Trump next hurls an insult at one of their colleagues, and he will, man, I'm going to, a weekend for two media anywhere in the world to the first member of the media who publicly gets in Trump's grill and says, hey, excuse me, sir, fuck you. Shame on you. That's a legit question. She's a damn good reporter. Apologize to her. The first member of the media that gives me a public, in real time variation of any of that, the first media member that in real time, when Trump hurls an ugly insult at a reporter, the first media member who right then and there defends their colleague, stands up for their colleague, gets in Trump's face and says, shame on you, apologize. The first media member that does that, man, I'll pop for a weekend. You and your partner, you and your spouse, anywhere on the planet. I'll pay to fly you anywhere. I'll pay to put you up anywhere. I'll feed you all your meals. My kingdom for a member of the media to get in that coward's grill. He's a bully. He's a coward. And you know he's going to do it again. Today, tonight, tomorrow. He'll look at a female reporter and he'll say, you're a stupid person. Besides, you're fat. He'll say something like that. And so help me God, if none of that reporter's colleagues have the fucking balls or the decency to get in his grill and say, Mr. President, fuck you. Shame on you. She's a fantastic reporter, and she asked you a legitimate question. Answer the question, no personal insults, and by the way, apologize to her. My kingdom for a media member who would have the decency and the balls, the courage to do that. And by the way, if you do it, media, maybe I'm popping for a weekend. Thanks for listening. My Substack, Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. There it is. Become a subscriber. That'd just be great. It helps to keep my voice out there. I know it seems like everybody and their mother has a Substack. They're all different. There are a lot of good ones out there, but every Substack's different. You know what this one's all about. If you listen to me, you know what my voice is. If you want to help me keep my voice out there, become a subscriber. Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. Shoot me an email if you'd like to ask me a question or give me a thought on anything. It's all one word, The Social Contract with Joe Walsh @gmail.com. Have a good Tuesday. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.